So before I started writing novels, I had written two nonfiction books, and I started writing what I expected to be my first novel and got 20,000 words in and realized I don't know what I'm doing. Like, this is so much different than like I write for a living, but not fiction. And it was so different. And so I want to finish that story eventually, but I set it aside. And then I started writing another novel that I thought I would finish. And I got to the point in that one too where, and this was right around March of 2020. So there were a lot of things going on in March of 2020 that were affecting things. But I got to the point in that book too where I was like, I still don't really know what I'm doing here. And I really stopped attempting to write fiction for several months until I had this super strange dream that became the inciting incident for my first novel, Vulcan Rising, that I wrote in about 3.5 months. But that one, it was the outlier and it was the product of two failed attempts at writing. And so, it came quickly and I'd been reading about craft and listening to podcasts about writing craft and had, most or parts of two different novels already written that didn't work out. And so it was just that, okay, I think I'm ready. And we took off and did it.
And starting can sometimes be the hardest part, right? You say we
Oh, for
just took off and did it, but
sure.
sometimes that step's the biggest step.
Yeah, it is. And the way that novel worked in particular was I had this really weird dream and I wrote it down just thinking like, okay, here's 1,800 words about this weird dream I had. And then two other kind of peculiar events happened that I wrote down those as well. And none of them were stories. They were all just kind of just scenes or vignettes even. And then after I wrote down the third one, I realized these all have kind of the same feel about them. And I think this may be something. And so I started and it did become something. And I had a lot of help along the way and figured out what my process is. And when I was most of the way writing that first novel, I realized, oh, this isn't just a standalone book. This is a series. And it changed how that book ended. And there was just so much realization as I wrote it. And it did become a 3 book series that maybe more as we go along. But yeah, starting is the hard part. And then keeping up and keep going is the hard part. And then finishing is the hard part. And they're all hard and they're all rewarding.